Listening, fill in the blanks.
Let's start. In its most general sense, prescriptivism is the view that one variety of language has an inherently higher value than others, and that this ought to be imposed on the whole of the speech community. The view is propounded especially in relation to grammar and vocabulary, and frequently with reference to pronunciation. The variety which is favored, in this account, is usually a version of the standard written language, especially as encountered in literature, or in the formal spoken language which most closely reflects this style. Adherents to this variety are said to speak or write correctly, deviations from it are said to be incorrect. The primary reason for the search is basic curiosity, the same curiosity about the natural world that drives all pure science. We want to know whether we are alone in the universe. We want to know whether life evolves naturally if given the right conditions, or whether there is something very special about the Earth to have fostered the variety of life forms that we see around us on the planet. The simple detection of a radio signal will be sufficient to answer this most basic of all questions. In this sense, SETI is another cog in the machinery of pure science which is continually pushing out the horizon of our knowledge. However, there are key reasons for being interested in whether life exists elsewhere. For example, we have had civilization on Earth for perhaps only a few thousand years, and the threats of nuclear war and pollution over the last few decades have told us that our survival may be tenuous.
Scientists appear to place more trust in the more established areas of complementary and alternative medicine, such as acupuncture, chiropractic, and osteopathy, for which there are professional bodies and recognized training, than therapies such as aromatherapy and spiritual healing. Osteopathy is now a registered profession requiring a certified 4-year degree before you can advertise and practice, said one neuroscientist who used the therapy. Nearly 2/3 of the scientists who replied to our survey believed that aromatherapy and homeopathy were no better than placebos, with almost a half thinking the same of herbalism and spiritual thinking. Some of the comments we received were scathing. Even 1 in 10 of our respondents had used homeopathy.
One of the key arguments of the anti-vaccinationists is that they have the right to choose their medication. These people attack what they see as the impersonal, intrusive, and uncaring edifice of modern medical science. However, the success of immunization programs depends on a sufficiently high number of the population being immune, which forces the disease to die out through lack of carriers. If there are enough susceptible individuals to provide a chain of disease transmission, safety is compromised for all, and this is why free choice should not be an issue, particularly when the hard evidence presents an overwhelming case. Personally, I would have thought that when children started dying from preventable diseases, the anti-vaccinationists' case would die also.
Extensively studied, constantly performed, adapted, and reinterpreted into modern contexts, Shakespeare's plays remain as popular as ever. But did he write them? That is the question. The immediate reaction is to wonder why anyone would even ask this. Although there is little documentary evidence of Shakespeare's life, what does exist unequivocally identifies him as the author of the plays. His name appears on title pages of a few publications, printing orders, and theatrical mention documents, and is by contemporary commentators and a fellow playwright, both publicly and in private memoirs, in every case in a way that is consistent with Shakespeare being the author. Consequently, for hundreds of years, no one held any doubts whatsoever on the matter. There it would have remained, had Shakespeare's posthumous reputation not reached such lofty heights. With the widespread acceptance of his dramatic genius, apparent inconsistencies were perceived.
Natural latex, or rubber, comes from the sap of rubber trees. Native to the Amazon region of South America, they had long been a Brazilian monopoly, and the boom in wild rubber had made many remote jungle towns rich, until thousands of seeds of the tree were smuggled out by an entrepreneurial Brit, Henry Wickham. These were used to start plantations throughout British East Asia, where the trees, facing none of their natural insect or fungal enemies, thrived. Thus, the Brazilian rubber boom crashed, leaving control of the world's supplies with the plantation owners in Malaysia, where to this day, most of the world's natural rubber is still produced.
Humans apparently shed a variety of tears. These are the tears we secrete all the time, those to help keep our eyes properly moistened. Then there are irritant tears, the kind we spill when peeling an onion or coping with smog. Finally, there are emotional tears, the stuff we trickle in response to grief, joy, frustration, or other stresses. Curiously, of all the earthly creatures, only humans seem to shed emotional tears. That makes such tearing a late evolutionary development. Unhappy newborns often cry tearlessly until they are several days old or even weeks after they are born. But challenge them with an eye irritant, and they can spill tears at birth.
The compiling of dictionaries has been historically the provenance of studious professorial types, usually bespectacled, who love to pore over weighty tomes and make pronouncements on the finer nuances of meaning. They were probably good at crosswords and definitely knew a lot of words, but the image was always rather dry and dusty. The latest technology, and simple technology at that, is revolutionizing the content of dictionaries and the way they are put together. For the first time, dictionary publishers are incorporating real, spoken English into their data. It gives lexicographers, people who write dictionaries, access to a more vibrant, up-to-date vernacular language which has never really been studied before.
One way the study of epigenetics is revolutionizing our understanding of biology is by revealing the mechanism by which the environment directly impacts on genes. Studies of animals, for example, have shown that when a rat experiences stress during pregnancy, it can cause epigenetic changes in a fetus that lead to behavioral problems as the rodent grows up. Other epigenetic processes appear to occur randomly, while others are normal, such as those that guide embryonic cells as they become heart, brain, or liver cells, for example.
Like, share, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for further updates.